Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Power to the Masses. It is I, and as you can see, we are in a new location, and that is because I want to make a drink with you guys and reflect on our society at the same time. We are living in a space where there is too much chaos, too much noise, and it's pulling us away from our humanity. And I think this conversation that I'm going to have with you guys will allow us to become aware of where our society is going and what we need to do in order to pivot away from the negativity that is happening. So please follow along as I make this drink and we have some laughs together and we just unwind, pun intended, no pun intended, to really just understand our society and to get a better grasp of what we need to do and how we need to push about a movement to bring that power back to the masses. As you guys can see, we have a few ingredients here displayed at this counter with us, and I want us to have this drink together. So I will be making a drink for myself, but I will also be making a drink for y'all as well because we need to unwind. We really need to dig deep and to really have that kiki ha ha conversation about what is really going on in this country. So let me go get the glasses for you. So we have the glasses here with us, and as you can see, they are chilled. Again, I'm very much into the wine etiquette. I have these rosés over here with me. They are very delicious. They have that sweet aroma and that fruitiness that it really gives just a oomph that I love. So you might not like the rosés, but I like them. So we're gonna make them in this video. And the glasses here are chilled because I like a cold drink. I don't like my drink to be warm or hot or room temperature. It doesn't go down as easily. But this is what we're gonna do. And in our first step, we're gonna be having this strawberry puree here with us. Okay, and we're gonna have the raspberries here. I'm just gonna move these glasses to the side just a little bit so you guys can see. And in the first step, we're just gonna take both of these and put it in the shaker. And then I'm gonna mash up those raspberries together and give it that raspberry strawberry essence within the rosé wine and the rosé prosecco that we have here. And so you're just gonna pour, nothing much. I'm just gonna use the whole thing here. And again, for those of you who are under the age of 21, you can use club soda, tonic water instead of any liquor or wine, just to have that underage drink for you underage people, for the underage folks that are down there. But again, please make whatever you like because I think in this time of chaos and this time of need, we truly do need to just enjoy ourselves, have that stillness where there's no noise and there's no chaos. And again, that leads me into my next topic, which is just about how we as people, we kind of live in this time of fear, of having this animosity with each other. And it kind of pulls us away from that humanity, from that compassion. And I feel like we do have times of stillness. I remember I was walking my dog the other day and it was just a calm day. You know, we're in fall. I am in Georgia. The weather here is quite nice in the fall. And as you can imagine, I was just very strucken by just the absence of chaos. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't scrolling on social media, having that fear, having that anxiety. And I think many of us have those moments where we're happy, where we're still. And I think once we highlight what is happening in our own lives, we can portray that outwards into our society because it will allow us to see how we are being forced, pushed upon by the system to influence us in ways that are negative, to make us fear each other, to make us have this animosity. Because none of us came onto this earth being mad at each other. None of us came onto this earth fearing other groups. And so again, this is why we need to make this drink. We need to unwind. We need to really just get loose and understand who we are as a society. So let me go ahead and mash this up together for you guys. And again, I am a college student, so the drinks that I'll be making might not be the same drink that y'all make. They might not be as professional, but again, they call me the mixologist when I was up in that college, and I was making some good drinks for these folks who love to drink, okay? So please, just, it might be a different process, but just watch along, okay? But yes, we're just gonna mash these raspberries, kind of make another puree, a berry puree, as you can say, just to give it some, like a fruity flavor. I think the rosé already has such flavors, but I think this is gonna give it a little flair. And so we're just mashing, as you guys can see. All right, I think that is good. The raspberries have mashed in pretty well. I'm gonna put this back. I'm gonna put this here. And now with the next step, we're going to be combining the Prosecco and the wine. And that symbolizes that chaos coming into our lives, into that purity that we have in our human nature. And that is what we're gonna do next. And then we're gonna shake up the little concoction together. And again, this represents the polarization in our country. It represents the division that is happening. And we can just look at the Bad Bunny situation with the Super Bowl and see how that really shows you how there is this manufactured chaos that is happening. They are trying to push out this hysteria. They're trying to push out these agendas. They use buzzwords and sound bites to gain our attention, to make us have this feeling of fear, of animosity. And so we have to wake up and understand that these institutions, these politicians, they are playing us. They are trying to influence our minds. When it comes to the Bad Bunny situation, you have those on the right and Turning Point USA who are making their own halftime show, who are saying that Bad Bunny is un-American, that because he speaks Spanish, that he doesn't know the American values. But that to me seems like it is creating that fear that we see. That to me feels like it is creating that hysteria. And this is what I mean. And this is what I mean when I say we keep getting into the noise. We keep getting into the chaos. You keep going on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, and what do you see? You see nonsense. And for many of us, we get tired of it. We get restless of it, and it becomes a problem to where some of us, we get into those echo chambers and we start to believe the things that these politicians, that these people are saying. And again, we get pushed around, we get shaken up, and we have to wake up, use that magnifying glass, and understand how these structures within our system are working against us. And they're doing this to distract us, to not make us unify under this working class struggle. So let me go ahead and pour this rosé wine up in here real quick. Give it a little pizzazz, because that is what we need for this. That is what we need for this drink. I'll tell you that. And then we're just gonna shake it up together. And again, this right here symbolizes that chaos. It symbolizes this right here. It's a little messy, but that's okay. That's that chaos that's boiling up. The stuff that's happening in this country, we are being boiled up alive, and it's going to pop soon if we don't figure that situation out. Okay, so this was meant to happen. But I think it is important for us to understand these mechanics in our system. Let me actually stop so you can actually hear me. I think it is important for us to understand the mechanics in. That's the chaos, okay? That is what is happening. So just play along. But again, we have to understand the mechanics in our system. We have to understand who we are as a society and how our humanity has been drifting away, how we have lost our compassion. We can talk about the government shutdown and how SNAP benefits are about to end in November. And so many people are on these benefits. So many people need these benefits. They're working 2-3 jobs. The material conditions have not improved. And yet nothing is happening. Instead, for some reason, we're having a discussion about Bad Bunny, about if he's American or not, when many people are just trying to survive, when many people are trying to live off of a paycheck day and night. These are the conversations that we should be having. These are the issues that should be mainstream. They should be on your news, and yet for some reason they aren't. And listen, the more I keep speaking about this, the more I want to take a sip of this drink, because it gets to a point. It gets to a limit to where it's just like, all right, what can we do? And that is why so many people get dissuaded. They get discouraged from the system. I understand your pain. I understand how so many of you feel. And you might say, you know what, I'm just going to focus on myself. But understand, we have to come together. Let us join hands. Let us come together under this working class struggle to lift ourselves up, to say there can no longer be any chaos, because that is important. That is what we need to do to see that change. So let me go ahead and finish shaking this little bottle up. It's a little messy. That's okay. That's that chaos that's happening. Yeah, you just want to shake it up a little bit. Give it a nice little swirl. Okay, I think that is good. But yes, you want to give it a nice little swirl. And when you're done, you're just gonna set it aside. Let me get a napkin because it is a little messy. And we have this napkin here, as you guys can see. More fall stuff, more autumn stuff, because it is that time of the year. If you guys like the pumpkins, I'm glad it was my mother. She loves to decorate this house, this lovely house, as you guys can see. But again, this represents that chaos. This represents that impurity that is now encroaching upon us. And we have to wake up from the situation. We have to realize how the system uses that social constructionalism in our society, our perspectives, our mindsets. They are engineered, they are shaped, they are influenced by the system. We live in a world made by man, created by man, and controlled by man. Understand that. Understand that this is all man-made, that is made by the humans itself. But there is a unequal power distribution. There is this unequal socioeconomic status when it comes to individuals in our society. And what happens? Our material conditions are not talked about. And when that should be the discussion, as I said earlier, it's not. And that represents that boiling chaos. That represents the lifting of the boiling pot. And that is just a primary example of the issues that are happening in this country and how we need to go about fixing them. And that will lead me into my next step of combining the liquors into this concoction. Continuing on, we're going to now put in the liquor and then the club soda into our little concoction that we are making. And again, I think that we as individuals, we forget where we came from. We forget the humanity that we have in ourselves. And I think we really do need to start to lean towards that, to go back towards that innate nature that we have, which is not of animosity. It is not of that fear and that hatefulness that is happening. Understand that your minds are shaped. Understand that this chaos is around us. It is trying to shape and mold you as you are today. We came onto this earth not hating each other at all. So it amazes me how we enter this realm, this world of polarization, of division, of racism, of sexism, of all these fears that people have of each other, of that anger that is being fueled, again, by these politicians. You would think that these people would be the prime examples of that human compassion, of that humanity. And yet what you see is the very opposite. What you see is that manufactured instability. What you see is that engineering, how they so cleverly, and I say cleverly because they've done it, they have managed to warp our psyche, managed to warp our minds into fighting each other, and we have taken it. We are in this deep hole, very deep hole that we just keep digging, and it's getting harder and harder for us to escape from that never-ending hole that just keeps getting deeper and deeper. And so we have to figure out a way to climb up that hole. We have to figure out a way to get away from the fear, get away from the hatefulness. And then that starts with sociology. That is the very principle of critically thinking, of using your mind and your brain to understand how you, on that individual level, when it comes to your life, is affected by those institutions, by the politicians, by the media. Because again, I've said it before in my previous videos, they all work together to create that mechanism, to have that subtle effect on us, on our lives, and how we run in this society. Comes in this way of complexity, where our lives, where that tranquility, where that peacefulness is right in front of us. We can be trying to reach it. It is but an arm length away. And yet for some reason, we are just not, we're not making it there, like, at all. And so this is why I'm having this conversation with you guys. This is why I'm making that drink with you guys, so we can again wind down to understand how things are flowing in our country, in our society, so that it can in ways be better. But this is what we have to do. Me having this conversation with you and making this drink is for us to unwind, for us to actually take a deep dive into what is happening in our society and how to change that. And one thing that I have seen is this historical pattern when it comes to the two-party system. And many people believe that it is a form of liberation, a form for you to use your will to have a choice, but rather it's a illusion, an illusion of choice. This false reality in which you live in, that you think that either choosing this side or the other side, that you in fact are going with your material condition. You are in fact going with that economic struggle that you are having, and then you are choosing these people to uplift that economic struggle. But that is not is what is happening. What is happening is that polarization, that chaos that I keep talking about. And so we have to, I feel, get away from the two-party system. We have to get away from that form of mechanism, because again, it only serves the system itself. It is there to create more chaos, to create more division in our country and divide us. And I don't think we're seeing that. I think we keep going into different directions, the left and the right, thinking that our salvation is here, thinking that our material conditions will improve, and they haven't. And we are already under Trump's administration right now. And look what is happening. You aren't seeing any policies for the working class, for the ordinary people. And I'll give it to you. If you want me to wait for 3 more years until he's in office to see if anything changes, then we can do that. But I guarantee you nothing will change for the working class. And we can even go another 4 years after that into the next election cycle. And I guarantee you that the mainstream will not be discussing the working class. The social media will not be discussing the working class, and the news and just the political economy that we are in will not be discussing the working class. I think it is time for us to start a realignment. I think it is time for us to pivot in a different direction together. We have to face the inequalities that are happening in our country. We have to face the systemic issues in our foundation, and to then come together under the working class to bring real improvements, to bring real change. And that is what it is all about. So we can't keep being in this chaos as these liquors here represent, as it is poured into our spritz sangria. We have to break away from that and to move about a different direction. So let me go ahead and put these little drinks up in here. And again, this is top shelf, so don't be skeptical if you think this is the bottom of the barrel. Nah, this right here will this is really good for some of you. This is really good for some of you, and you might not know what this is, and that's okay. But I do, and I know that it's gonna get you there. So we're gonna just put a few. Again, you can put as much as you want. Again, there's a lot of chaos in this world. You could put the whole bottle if you really wanted to. But we're not, I'll leave some here. I don't want to seem like I'm crazy. And then we're just gonna give it a little splash of some soda water just to give it more fizz. I know the champagne already did that, but so one thing I love about this is that it gives it more flavor, and so we're just gonna add that. But again, this represents that chaos that we are just infused in. It represents the pulling away of our humanity as we make this drink. So let me go ahead and shake this. And I hope you guys are following along, taking notes, because the very things that I'm talking about are important. Now you're gonna shake it whichever way. Give it a nice shake. And again, I'm not a master mixologist. I'm a college student, or graduated college student rather, with a political science major and a sociology minor, if you guys did not know. Just give you some credentials. But yeah, you're just gonna stir that around, again, representing that chaos that is happening. And with the final act, that final step, we're gonna be cutting open those limes as they represent that balance. They represent coming back into the fold of that humanity, bringing an end to the chaos and the noise. So I'll see you in the next step. As you can see, I am back, and we have the limes with us in front of us, and I'm gonna cut them open. Again, they symbolize that balance, that coming back of that humanity as we poured a top onto the wine glasses because we're gonna cut these open first, and then I'm going to pour in our concoction, our sangria or spritz, whatever you would like to call it, into our chilled glasses. And then the final step will be to squeeze some lime juice onto the top, and we will have our drinks. And again, I think we just really need to come together as a society. We need to understand where we are and what direction we are going. Because right now, too much alarm bells are ringing. There is too much noise. People are having that anxiety. People are having that fear. And I think it paralyzes us. It puts us in a place where all we do is doom scroll. We're just scrolling just to see the craziness that has happened, and we just feel like nothing is changing, nothing will change in our lives. And so it makes people unhappy. And I know for every hardworking American, for every human being, they want to have that life of simplicity. They want to have that life of peacefulness. And we can get it. We can move towards a place where we aren't being influenced by the system, but we have to come together. We have to become aware and use that magnifying glass. I have it here in this drawer right here. And it is important. It signifies where we are and what we need to do to look through this magnifying glass, look through the scope, use that sociological lens, and analyze the cracks, analyze what the system is doing to us, see how we are being engineered to perceive things in a certain light. And only by using that magnifying glass, only by taking up that intellectualism of sociology, using it in our everyday lives, can we realize and break away from what is truly happening. So this is important too. This right here, you're going to see everything in the world. You're going to see all that is happening and how it is influencing you on the individual level. But let's go ahead and cut some of these limes open. Truthfully, I think we need one lime. I don't know why I got two for you guys. We don't want it to be too sour, but we're gonna start with one lime for now, and the final act, we're gonna start pouring these glasses for you and I to drink as we try to relax and understand, to come back to that humanity, to come back to that compassion that so many of us have lost. And I think it's in there. I think many of us have it. All of us has that compassion. It is in us. When we go out, when we are spending time with family, when we are on a walk by ourselves, we have those moments of stillness. We just get distracted. We get bogged down by the politics, by the chaos, by the noise. And we have to unlearn that, because that is what has been taught to us. We have been shaped by a system that is built on fear. We have been shaped by a system that is built on increasing that hatefulness within each other. So understand that, because it is clear as day that the system is trying to distract us and get us away from that class consciousness. I'm gonna pour you a drink. Ooh. Hold on. Having some technical difficulties here, but that is okay. That is that chaos. Give us a second. As I try to get this up. Again, I'm not a great mixologist. I did this out of college, so please bear with me as I try to put this in that cup, okay? Sometimes you gotta find some other ways to do things. The little cups. Oh, that's a little uneven. Again, I'm not a master mixologist. We're just gonna pour a few in here. And then I'm gonna get us some ice cubes just to give it that even richer, cooler effect. And again, you just need a few ice cubes to have your nice drink. I'm gonna put this here. And now we're just gonna apply these limes into our little sangria spritz. Just a little bit, nothing too much. But again, this is to balance it all out, to again, make it not have that chaos as in the beginning, because that is how our society functions. In order for us to remove ourselves from the negativity, from the animosity, from that fear, we have to look inwards, we have to look at ourselves, reflect, have that reflective conversation, which I'm having with you guys now, into understanding where we are, into looking at the future and say, if we go the same route that we've continued to go on, will our material conditions change? Will the working class be discussed? Will the ordinary people feel as if their living conditions have improved? These are serious questions that we have to ask ourselves. And as much fun as I had making these drinks with you guys, it is a very serious topic that I think we need to start to become awareness to in order to have that systemic change. Because the structural issues that we have right now, they're not going to move towards a different direction if we continue under the same path. And I think by starting that discussion, by bringing it aloud into the media, into the political ecosystem and that sphere, I think we can challenge that reality, challenge the false narratives that have been pushed upon us. This drink right here is for you. It is for all of us to unwind, to realize the stillness and the peacefulness that our humanity has. And we can get back to that place. We can get to a phase in our lives where we are united together against the elite, against the corporations, against that influence that has made its way in the system. So let me just take a little sip of this. Well, listen. There you go. I did it again. I did it again. This is a nice drink. Again, we had the two rosés, we had the liquor and the tonic soda, and then we had the lime and the raspberries and strawberry puree. And again, all of that swirled up together. Yes, it might bring some chaos in the end, but we can move in a direction of that tranquility. We can move in a direction of that peace, and to actually look at what is happening in our country. So let us come together. Let us unite. Let us keep reflecting, having these conversations over some wine, and bring about a new era in our society. And most importantly, let's bring back power to the masses. And that's all I got for you. See you in the next episode.